Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Well, we have done it. We finished every video game from the 1970s, all 478 of them, and now it's time to move on to the 80s. Welcome to the 80s. We're going to kick off our first game with B-1 Nuclear Bomber, and we're going to do this slightly different. During the 80s, a lot of the games have a lot more content, so some of these games we're going to spend a little more time and dig a little deeper, play a little bit longer, just because in the 70s it was pretty simple how to go in a game, get the idea in a few seconds, and then move on to the next one. So some of the games in the 80s we're going to spend a little longer on, and it's going to be a blast. And we got Jade Baby Doll in the chat. Welcome, welcome to the 80s, playing every video game in order of release. So this is B-1 Nuclear Bomber for the Apple II, the most popular computer by Apple. And here's some of the artwork for it. It looks like a generic bombing game. Microcomputer Games, a division of the Avalon Hill Game Company. Avalon Hill, we're going to see a lot more of them later too. And there's the back of the box, really showing off the cassette tape, how the game's played. This one is on a cassette tape on the Apple II. You're the commander of a B-1 supersonic bomber flying a routine strategic deterrence mission over Thule Air Force Base, Greenland. The radio man reports receiving top priority coded message from the airborne command post. Warplan Alpha 5, this is not a drill. Repeat, Warplan Alpha 5, this is not a drill. This is a simulation game simulating being in the cockpit of a bomber. Let's see how realistic they go for 1980. You can see on the back of the box, they're already giving a little bit of role-playing to be in the position of that bomber. And then we have an example of the cassette tape here from Avalon Hill, and that looks like everything we have there. We do not have a manual, and if that happens with home computers, it's a little scary because some of these home computers can get detailed. All right, let's check it out. It is January 6th, 1980, playing every video game in order of release. And this will be our first game in the 80s, B-1 Nuclear Bomber. And from the chat, Jade Baby Doll said that I'll get my leg warmers because it's the 80s. All right, so here we go. Flash, hot war. Your primary target is Astrakhan. Your fail-safe code is RJQPT. Your alternatives are... lots of different places around the world. Soviet defense complexes are... and it says command. So it is a text-based bombing game, not an action or view game. We've seen a flight simulator game on the home computer, so this would be a slight step down. So command, we don't have a manual, so I don't know the commands. What happens if I type yes? Oh, here we go. Thank you, game. The commands are course, altitude, status, radar, navigator, search, autopilot, evasive action, Phoenix missile, arm the bomb, and then bomb. So where am I right now? Okay, so I can show me where I want to go. So if I do NA for navigation, I want to go to, let's go to Rostov. Rostov bears 154.5T, 4,844 kilometers away. So let's go. So this game is a text adventure game that you would type in the commands that you want to do. I don't know if they have an action segment to it. Let's try arming the bomb. If I do arm the bomb, what happens? Oh, my failsafe code. I don't remember what it was. I didn't write it down. You're supposed to write something down. Let's try RJQT. Oh, it is the wrong one. Okay, so you have to remember to write down that code, then you can actually bomb something. So if I try to bomb, what happens? Yes, you have to arm the bomb first by using the code, and then you can bomb it. But I think you have to also be on a certain course. So if we change our course, to a new place, we can go change our altitude. But you notice how it's not an action-based. You have to do all the commands to get the ship to do what you want, and then move forward. So this would be a step down compared to what we've seen. I've seen the Commodore PET have a game that you're flying first person. It is rudimentary, but it is pretty cool to actually have the action part of it. So this is text adventure game, and so I would consider this one slightly below average, especially from what we'd see at the time. All right, so for B-1 Nuclear Bomber, we're going to go ahead and give that one below average for star rating. Let's give it, for the time, this, actually, if you look at the bottom, they're giving a description of B-1 Nuclear Bomber. which turns out to be just months before the official dissolution of the Soviet Union on December 26th that year. March 1983, nuclear bomber tied for 8th place in Softline's Dog of the Year. So they gave this one the Game Year of the Award for badness. So back in 1983, which was 3 years after, they rated this game bad at the time, and we are as well, because considering what else we can play at home on the computer, not as good. So we're going to give this one 1.5 stars. It is in the bad range for sure for B1 Nuclear Bomber. All right, let's move on to our next game. This is Aliens. Is it related to the Alien movie? And this will be Aliens on the Commodore PET. All we have is one screenshot, no manual, which means we just dive right in. It is January 10th, 1980, playing Aliens on our Commodore PET. All right, so this is, it looks like a well, not necessarily homebrew game, but back in the day, whenever they released new software, if you wanted to develop your own, you could send the code into computer magazines and then use that code to play the game. So this is one of the examples of someone's code that was sent in at this time, and when you looked at the magazine, you could play the game based on that code. So this is by Mike Hamilton. Great job, Mike. Looks like it is not related to the movie. Well, it can't be. Aliens, the movie, came out in 79, so this would have been too close. 1980. Protect the Earth from invasion. Do we want directions? Yeah, we do. You are responsible for defending Earth from alien invaders. Move the gun left by pressing 4, of course, and right by pressing 6. Okay, so it's using the number pad. And then fire by pressing Shift. Okay, got it. Is that it? Yeah, press return. Let's do it. Oh, wow. That is loud as all get out. Oh, it's a Space Invaders type game where I'm just a fixed shooter at the bottom. But the sound effects are deafening. Wow, it's so loud. Especially for the Commodore PET. I didn't think the Commodore PET could get this loud. And there you go. I just hit the brake key because whenever you hit the brake key on the computer, it just crashes everything. And from the chat, Jade Baby Doll goes, I knew this was poopy, and yeah, we definitely got the vibe from that one. All right, so the game, we just literally broke it. But that was a very simple concept that you could actually play. So for the time, we're going to give that one average from what you'd see on a home computer. So solid 3 stars for, well, no, let's do it a slightly low. Let's do 2.5. So still in the average range, but 2.5 stars for Aliens. All right, let's move on to our next game. This is Cosmic Alien in the arcade. The Space Invaders clones keep on coming. Let's take a look at the artwork for Cosmic Alien. There you go, by Universal. On your guard against alien attack. Aliens are everywhere, guys. It's the 80s now. There's going to be so many aliens you don't even know. All right, so if we look at the arcade cabinet, lots of awesome artwork, hand-painted design, and got some awesome metal vibes to it. Like with the crazy creatures, like they're making the aliens really scary on the arcade cabinet. And then you can see here, this is the arcade PCB. And here's our control panel. Looks like it's just move left and right and fire, which is typical of any of the shooting games we played. They call them space games at the time. It's the newest space game, Cosmic Alien. And there's our screenshot. Very colorful, nice starfield in the background. All right, let's see if the manual gives us anything else. Cosmic Alien. There you go. That's the kind of artwork. Whoa. That'll keep you up at night. By Universal. So it has features of the machine, and it looks like it's just... The game packs in excellent features, capturing the hearts of players. I hope all my viewers, this game captures your heart as well. The lever control system is simple to use. Flick of the dip switch, you can change different things, but that's most arcade cabinets. What does it tell us about Cosmic Alien? So this tells you about how to handle a machine, connect and disconnect. Okay, here, how to play. Drop a coin in, and 2 coins if you're playing with a friend. You press 1 or 2 player button, and you handle the lever, move the ship side to side, and press the fire button. Aliens floating high in the air suddenly roll, rushing toward the spaceship to assault it. While warning aliens don't launch missiles, assaulting aliens do what they get near the spaceship, or they hurtle into it. each time 2 screens have been cleared, or on the 3rd screen. When 4 screens are cleared, or on the 5th screen, the alien's shape changes, and at that time, the spaceship becomes nearer the aliens by 1 stage. The spaceship is then sometimes exposed to the danger of being crashed into from behind by aliens which have dived. Well, it's using an example of Galaga's gameplay. We haven't seen Galaga yet, if it's living up to what we're reading here on the manual. So aliens are either chief guards, commanders, soldiers, and they have their own mode of assault and pointed toward. And how the points are awarded, you get 3 spaceships and score. So yeah, we very familiar from what we've seen. I really want to see what they describe as the aliens coming at us. So we got different versions, an early version, version 2, and the first version. We're going to play the first one that came out July 21st, 1980. This is Cosmic Alien in the arcade by Universal. Wow, we got everything. So all the artwork, we got the marquee at the top, everything you see around the cabinet, and the viewport is a little bit smaller, but oh man, it looks so cool. Let's switch it out and change it to something that we can see a little bit more. So there you go. That's the full the full game that's being played, and we'll give that a shot from there. All right, so let's put a quarter and see what happens. Push only 1 player. So I put in 1 quarter, and it'll be 1 player. Presented by Universal. Love the starfield in the background. We've seen very few games that have done a scroll effect on the shooting genre. All right, so push and start, and here we go. I am in, moving left and right and shooting, and there is no sound that's being played at this time, or at least nothing that we can hear that's coming in. And the gameplay is taking Galaxian, which we saw last year, and this one, I'd say it's bumping it up just a tad. The aliens are a little bit slower, but man, it plays really smooth, and we got different shots by the aliens. As I'm shooting, I still have only 1 shot, just like most of the shooters we've seen. I can't shoot until my bullet gets to the end of the screen or I hit something. So you really need to make he got me. You really need to make your shots count. Nice explosion though, so much color. This is the golden age of arcade games, and it's here, right on. All right, so I back in after the death, and I really want to see the next wave. No, see, I couldn't make my next shot happen because it has to go all the way up on the end of the screen before I see the next one. Come on. Let's go. But it still made it. The alien went off the side, and we're back fighting the next wave of cosmic aliens. It says at the bottom right, screen 2. To let us know what happened. Oh, was that it? Am I done with my quarter? I was. So after about 3 lives, then they put my score at the top of the screen, and then we move on. So it looks like if I made it to 5,000, I'd get an extra gun or extra character. So let's do it again. I'm going to put in another quarter and push starting on it. Let's see. Blowing up some cosmic aliens. Now, this means if we don't have sound, that the sound was being sent through the arcade cabinet rather than the PCB. Or they just haven't emulated it for this game. Oh, I was looking at the top instead of the bottom on that one. The different colors, though, is pretty cool. The only time we've seen the color like this was when they had plexiglass overlay, but that's not the case. They're programming that color in to be the wave of green, wave of cyan, wave of magenta. They really love those colors this early on. Magenta and cyan were so hot. Oh, but yeah, this plays really well, and I'd say is right on par with Galaxian. So, excellent, excellent. All right, that was Cosmic Alien. We're going to go and give that one above average. So, for the time, this one is a 4-star game, a really good one to have for 1980, kicking off the year. All right, moving on to our next game. This is Navarone, also in the arcades. And is this licensed? It's got to be licensed on a movie. Let's look at the artwork on this. Here is the... okay, here we go. We got the control looks like left, right, and fire. We've seen that before. But there we go. There's the artwork. This is by Namco. And it's got to be a movie. Because if you look on the far right, that's Gregory Peck. And then in the center is... I think it's Inspector Clouseau, but I forget the actor's name. And they give us a few screenshots right down here. Navarone. There's our screenshot, possibly programmed only in black and white. We don't have a manual for this one, so we're just going in. It is February 1980. Checking out Navarone in the arcades by Namco. And there we go. It boots up. Yes, it is a black and white program game. In 1980. I'd give it a little below for that because we've seen plenty of color games. All right, let's put a quarter in and see what it's like. Push start button, and you get an extra live after 6,000 points. So I can move left and right. Left and right is pretty jerky. I have different targets that I can shoot. Looks like I can't shoot past that one, but the circles are explosions and looks like they blow up. We played a game that looked similar to this and had the same explosive effect called Blasto in the arcades a few years back. Yeah, all the controls I have to move is left and right, and I'm dodging just one fire in the middle, but I don't see... Okay, there is other turrets that are shooting me. Sound effects are very simple, rudimentary, but at least we got something, because the last game we played still had no sound that was emulated. The turrets are shooting me, the center guy is shooting me, and when I can make combinations of explosions. That's pretty cool. But it's what we saw in Blasto from before. It looks like I can shoot the center turret and knock him out. Let's get some of those. But I can't knock out the turret and stop it. But I can shoot the center. Okay, I couldn't get past it because I had a barrier in the middle. But it looks like I'm just doing a cold clear screen for it. One bullet at a time that I can shoot. There's no noise for the explosions, only on my little pistol. Whenever I hit the little dots that aren't the explosion part. There you go, get him. All right, so it looks like you just get points for it, but I think you're blowing up all the dots, trying to clear all the dots around. All right, the turrets are going nuts, trying to shoot me, but you just make your way around. The control's very, very simple. Let's see if I just knock out this last dot, what happens. Okay, so all the dots are gone. Oh, there you go. Okay, and it gives a bonus based on the time that I finished it, and then we move on to the next stage, and then ad nauseum. Keep going. That's the arcade in the 1980s. All right, that was Navarone. So for the time, it's going to be a little below average because we've seen something similar and not really doing anything to push the boundaries of the Atari. I'm sorry, of the arcade. So for Navarone, I'm not going to say in the average range. I'm going to give it 2, which is like the best of the bad that could be. So 2 stars for Navarone in the arcades. All right, kicking off more of the games in the 1980s. Our next game is Video Kart 22. This is the Fairchild Channel F. We haven't seen this one in a long time. It was released in 1976, and it looks like these are some of the games that came out in 1980. Our first one is Slot Machine, which is a slot machine simulator. Is there anything special about it? It looks like, yes, it is just a slot machine game. And we can see here on the cartridge, it's giving us instructions of how to play. And it looks like you have the controls for pulling the bar down. And yeah, it's put in some fake money, use the fake money and what cost you have. So yeah, it is just a virtual slot machine. So like any other casino or betting game, we're going to go ahead and give that one 0 and move on. So moving on quickly with this one, that's for sure. All right, moving on to our next game. This is Galactic Space Wars, or Video Kart 23 on the Fairchild Channel F. Let's take a look at the artwork. There it is. Very simple, not really covering new ground. It pops, though. It pops out. It's very 80s, sure. All right, and there's our cartridge. It says to play, you push reset, and it'll stars will appear for Galactic Space War. Object is to find enemy ships and fire upon them before they fire upon you. Push the left, right, forward, back. Okay, so it's giving us an example of how to use the hand controller. The Fairchild Channel F had a very advanced hand controller, and it looks like we can move left, right, stars move up, stars move down, but then if we push down on the hand controller, that's how we fire the laser. And it looks like we have Lunar Lander on here, so we can play Lunar Lander too. Yeah, there's Space Wars and Lunar Lander. Is to soft land ships on a platform without crashing, limited fuel supply, and it looks like your engine can fire moving forward, left, and right for the controls for that one. All right, so yeah, terrible screenshot of Video Kart 23. On the cover, it just has Galactic Space War. It doesn't say anything about Lunar Lander. All right, here's the manual. Does the manual tell us that there's one or the other? Does the manual say anything, or is it just a piece of paper? I just have a white blank piece of paper on the screen. Anything? What? There's no manual? You gotta be kidding me. There's nothing. It's showing. Is the manual one solid piece of paper? It's like the Beatles' White Album. All right, I guess we get no help from there. Only the cartridge was telling us how to play the game. All right, let's pop in the cartridge. It's February 1980, playing Galactic Space Wars on our Fairchild Channel F. So right off the bat, it looks like it started us on the first game. I want to see what happens if we reset. So we push the R or reset on the console. And you can see here it reset and brought us right back to, okay, yeah, we're at the star field. And so I have, when I push down on the hand controller, I can fire my shots, but it's a first-person space game on the Fairchild Channel F. This is the home console that came out before Atari, and it's attempting us flying through space. But I don't see any bad guys. Where's the enemy ships? I have what looks like a dial telling me where I have 32, 43, 81, but I don't know what that is describing, because all I can do is move the starfield up and down and left and right, but I can't warp anywhere else. Let's see if I can figure out what the numbers mean. So we got 73 is green, and I wonder if that means my fuel, because it's a countdown. Yeah, okay, so it's counting down normal, but the red numbers, I wonder if it's trying to lead me to the spot of where the enemies are. 63, 73. It's like I'm playing a warm and hot game with the numbers, is my guess. 76, 77. Oh, wait, I'm getting close? No, not getting close. Yeah, I don't know how to get to the enemies, but I'm following the instructions down the cartridge. I know that I have a shot that I can shoot, but I don't have any way to find out where my enemies are. All right, let's see if we push number 1 on the console, what happens. Oh, I bet I know what it is. I need to push start. Maybe? Start on the console? So same thing, the numbers are counting up and down. We tried to look at the manual, but all we had was one solid white page. So no help there, but it is cool having the novelty of you use the hand controller and you're flying around space at home on a home console. All right, so looking for the reason behind the numbers, but I'm not sure. All right, so let's try a reset, and let's see if we can load part 2 and see what part 2 is. Yeah, it is. Oh, so it is Lunar. It is Lunar Lander if we do the second game mode, and looks like Lunar Lander is just dropping us down and then crashing. All right, let's see if we can do it again. Okay, so here you go. We're trying to land on the green platform. I'm moving our ship, and I'm trying to slowly inch down and have a nice safe landing. And it still crashes. Frame rate is terrible for what we've seen for the other home consoles. All right, come on. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Now, I do have the red meter showing me my fuel, so that makes sense. Yeah, all right, we got a landing on it. And then they give us the score. Okay, score, I guess, based on time. So we've seen Lunar Lander in the arcades. That's where this idea came from. And they're just really simplifying it to make it work on the Fairchild, if you can make it in there. All right, so from the chat, Chiptune Chronicles says, hey, are we in the 80s now? Yes, we are in the 80s, man. It is the first game we played in the 80s on the Fairchild Channel F. This is Galaxy Wars, and we're playing the second game mode, which is Lunar Lander. All right, so it is using the thrusters to try to get us in the right spot. Oh, it still was a crash. So the frame rate's kind of low. We've seen other things on the home consoles that run better, specifically Atari. But it's impressive that Fairchild was able to do this, or these two game modes. There we go. I got a landing on it. All right. All right, pretty good for the Fairchild Channel F. So for the time, and because of the different game modes, we're going to give that one 3.5 stars. Well done for a cartridge that you could play on the Fairchild Channel F. 3.5 stars. All right, moving on to our next game. We got another Fairchild game. This one is Pro Football. So our first football game for the Fairchild Channel F. Video cart 24. Let's take a look at the artwork for it. Oh man, love it. Psychedelic. With, but kind of simplified compared to what we've seen on the Odyssey and Atari. And then for our cartridge, it's telling us how to play. We reset and then select what speed we want, 1 through 4. So yeah, from the chat, yeah, that's correct. It's mostly X's and O's. At least we're going back to that, at least for this version. Each team selects an offensive or defensive play, 1 through 8. by moving the hand controller to one of 8 positions. Oh my goodness. Okay, so hand controller, just so you're aware, moves in all 8 directions, at least the top part. So they're saying whenever you play with 2 people, you pick one of 8 plays, and then while you've moved to that position, then you twist it, and that's how you lock in your play. And start play by moving the quarterback within 5 seconds, and then if you want to pass, you push down, straight pass, push down and twist, passes to the upper part of the screen, and you push down and twist clockwise to the lower part of the screen. So it's showing you how to control the play. Now, I'm pretty sure the Fairchild is not going to have a second player to play with me, so I might be just playing football by myself. But we do not have a manual. We got a lot of information from the cartridge, so I'm glad the Fairchild did that. Let's boot it up. It's February 1980, playing Pro Football on the Fairchild Channel F. That would be the first ditty we've heard on the Fairchild Channel F. This was the home console that was released before the Atari 2600. Okay, so we're in the game, and it looks like it's already started. So what I do is I have to pick a position, and then I twist the controller. I don't have the manual, so I don't know which play I'm doing, but here we go. I locked in a play, and now we're out on the field, and it looks like, yes, it is waiting for the second player to lock in their play. So it looks like the second controller, I'll just turn on another controller so we can see what it looks like. So they would do the same thing. They'd move their hand controller and then twist, and there you go. So they picked their play on the second controller, and now it looks like blue side, which is what I was first controlling, is the squares or O's, and then the X's was the first player. Yeah, I agree. Not the best box art. So the X's and O's, I barely even call it an O. It's more like X's and squares. But it timed out. I didn't pick the football player to go. So you can see here, it's picked to me, and now I got the ball, and I'm going in. Can I get it all the way? It is probably the worst sounds we've heard on the channel, but it is the first song we've heard on the Fairchild Channel F. That's crazy. All right, so picking a different play for both sides. I'm having to use 2 controllers for this, and you can see what happens whenever I go. I throw, and then boom, I'm off. I don't see a lot of intelligence coming from... Look at this, I do it again. Yeah, we're not getting a lot of intelligence coming from the computer players, because the other person is only controlling one at a time, at least. That's what I can see. All right, so compared to other football we played, it's pretty good, but considering the others, we're going to have to give this one below what we've seen. So X's and O's we saw in early 70s, well, at least in the arcades. What we've seen home console and home computers do football a little bit better than this. And we're not just going by graphics, we're going by how it controls. So it's really cool that they gave us different options, like different plays we could do, but how simple it is to move around the field, and we're not getting a lot of artificial intelligence from the other players. We're going to give that one 2 stars for the time. And it was not the first original song on a console, but we've heard other ditties simple like this on consoles. This is the first time we've heard it on the Fairchild Channel F. All right, moving on to our next game. We are in the arcades. This is Balloon Bomber. Let's take a look at the advertisement flyer. There it is. This is from Taito. Every balloon carries a bomb of deadly power. I like how Taito does this. They have some of the artwork at the top, but they always put screenshots so you know exactly what the game is going to look like at the bottom. Very nice. And there's the back of the flyer. Don't be deceived by the simplicity of Balloon Bomber. Don't get too fascinated by the rhythmic sway of the balloons as they lazily dance across the screen. Yeah, I agree. The art is awesome. All right, so for play instructions, insert a coin, push 1 or 2 players, use the joystick to control the cannon and aim at advancing balloons, push the red button to fire. Each balloon carries a bomb. If you shoot a balloon without hitting its bomb, the bomb will drop and will explode on landing, making a big hole in the ground. Your cannon cannot move past the hole. Okay. When 6 balloons or bombs are shot, a new balloon bomber appears, and they move in reverse direction and appear 1 step lower than before. You start the game with 3 cannons and extra cannons awarded after a certain amount of points. It's all about the points. Get those points. All right, so thanks for the instruction. Oh, do we have anything else there? Was that, oh, there we go. They got an arcade cabinet for Balloon Bomber, and then our controls are just left, right, and fire. Do we have a control panel? No zoomed in of the control panel, but that's enough to get us going. And it looks like we have one version that could be the bootleg of Scramble, which that's a little later. We haven't hit Scramble yet. All right, let's step up. It is March 1980. This is Balloon Bomber in the arcades by Taito. So most likely we're playing in Japan. Balloon Bomber. All right, let's put a quarter in and see what it's like. Cha-ching. Push the one-player button, and here we go. We have left, right, and fire. And it looks like the point of the game is we want to hit the... Oh, there we go. Can I hit? Okay, I can hit. The point of the game is to hit the bomb before it drops at the end of the screen. And if it does, you can see I can't go past the explosion it makes. It puts a hole in the ground, and I can't move past that. So we're trying to hit the missile before it gets to the end. It looks like I can get a second chance. Oh, I missed that one. But eventually, it's going to cut me off, and I won't be able to go any further. So let's see if we can get a handle on this one before he shows up. And, yep, they're moving faster. Cool. Okay, I didn't let that one fall. Was that the end? Okay, my quarter's not up yet. Oh, it switches sides now. Oh, okay, it's going to try to trap me in. Yep. See, now I'm blocked off and can't go any further to the left or to the right. There we go. Get it, get it. Oh, I missed. So this is all I have for my range to play. Yep. Yeah, it could just drop right here. I'm gonna be done. We got constant music while playing the game. This would be the very first time on the channel we've played a video game that has constant music. Well, if you want to call it music, it's a little ditty. Oh man, I have not. I got no range to move after that. All right, so this is Balloon Bomber. Awesome concept. I'm still playing on one quarter, by the way. And I'm going to do it a little smarter this time. Oh, man. Now, it's using the one shot, can't shoot until it gets to the end of the screen. So you really want to aim and time your shots before you move to the next one. Okay, let's give it a shot again. There's our bombs coming down. And I want to make sure they don't hit the ground so I can have more movement. Oh, man. See, there's a chance I can hit them at the end before they reach the... They still got the best of me. Very fun, though. It's addictive because you feel like you could do... Yeah, it landed next to me. It feels like you could do better. Yeah, risk-reward gameplay. I agree. That's awesome. And at least we got some kind of ditty. So if you reduce moving space, you can still make the bomb drop no playing field, but you run the risk of having space. Yes, that's right. Yes, I totally agree. Get it, get it. All right, moved on to another round with different colors. It's also unique that the entire background is one color. Most of the arcade games and video games we played have been a solid color. Oh, they got me on that. Have been a solid color in the background like black because it's easier to program. And now I'm in this very small space. Let's see if I can survive. Get it? Can I get the biplane? Now it went up, but I don't think I can shoot the biplane at the top. It was releasing a flurry of... Uh-oh. This didn't look good. Get it? Oh, he got the best of me there. Very cool. Okay, so that's Balloon Bomber. So for the time, it is still a fixed shooter at the bottom, but it's done so well. We're going to go ahead and give that one 4 stars. I'm debating whether we go higher because it has an excellent risk reward, but it is still a little simple. So we'll give it 4 stars for Balloon Bomber. All right, moving on to our next game. This is Samurai in the arcades. We began this channel kicking off a lot of Atari games in the arcades, which means they were originally developed and introduced in North America. But now, as we start the 80s, we're seeing much more. We're seeing much more games that were developed in Japan. And yeah, I like how they had a twist on the Space Invaders play. Definitely. All right, let's see what the images are like for Samurai. So here is a terrible advertisement flyer. That usually means it's rare if I can't find a good copy or it hasn't been reproduced. But looks like controls, we can move all 4 directions and attack. And there's our arcade marquee. And it's a game programmed all in color. All right, so we have no manual for Samurai. Let's just step right up and see. It's March 1980. We're playing Samurai in the arcades by Sega. I believe this is Sega's release after Monaco GP, and we've only seen one other game on the channel that has kanji. Even the games that were developed in Japan, they were still using American letters on the game. So this is probably the second game we've seen on the channel that is using Japanese. Okay, so it has a cool attract mode. Looks like 1 and 2 players. I really want to know if the second player, if it's alternating or they play at the same time. And yeah, it is strange. They're using Japanese alphabet for the word samurai. It is a little strange. It is interesting, though, that they have that, because we played a lot of games from Japan, and what would it be like being Japanese? You're developing a game, but you're doing it in English instead of your home language. All right, so let's put a quarter in. I'm going to put in 2. I want to see if it's the second player is alternating. So let's put in a couple quarters, 2 quarters in. There we go, and if we push start, okay, so it is alternating. So it starts off where I am a samurai on the screen, and oh, this is pretty fun. I'm able to move all 4 directions. Oh, he got me. 1-hit kills. That's down. Japanese has 3 alphabets, 1 for Japanese words, 1 for foreign, and kanji. So would you happen to know if this is a kanji? Because I know the resolution is really low, but is kanji being displayed for this game, or is it... Yeah, kanji is the alphabet they borrow from China. So is this using kanji, or is this using the other one? Oh, kana. Okay. So glad you're here, Chiptune. What would we do without you? They had to pick something that would be able to use the low resolution. Maybe that's one of the reasons they had the American words in there. I see. All right, so we have no sound, but the gameplay is awesome. It is essentially a hack and slash. And is this our boss? Do we have a boss? After I beat up all the guys, now we have this one. Oh, he got me. All right, so it looks like 1 player is down. If you look at the bottom, the flashing 2, I'm now playing as the second player, but I didn't switch controllers. It's all nice. Got them all. Okay, so it's all using one that you alternate back and forth. So yes, samurai would be the Japanese word. Get him. Oh, he still got me. Do I have another chance? Or is it game over? Yes, it is. Okay, so I really want to see if we can beat the boss. We haven't seen a game that does this. We're playing multiple enemies. I'd say it's like the origins of a beat-em-up or a hack and slash. Incredible. All right, so let's do it again. We'll do a 2-player game because we got enough money for it. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we can knock them all out. I really would love to know what the sound effects were like for this, because it's playing silently is very different. And what is shooting throwing stars at me at the top? Okay, here we go. Can we get the boss down? Let's see if the boss... Okay, man, it's smart. It parried my samurai sword there. Again, I don't know if I can get a hit on it, if he goes down in 1 hit or not. Or if that's a health bar for the boss at the bottom. Oh, it is 1-hit kill. Okay, cool. But he came back again. So maybe he didn't go all the way down. Yeah, I don't know if they're ninja throwing stars or not. It looks like it would be. All right. Cool. Okay, we go to the next round. Looks like enemies are going faster. And yes, here comes a ninja baby at the top that's throwing ninja stars. At least it looks that way to me. And it's still 1980, so we're using our imagination when we play. All right, we got the boss again, and we have no enemies on the side, so I'm not sure what that means. Let's see. No! Well, that was a good run. And looks like now we're playing still as first player. Oh, they got me. You get a few rounds for your quarter, which is great. But as far as gameplay, this is fascinating. We haven't seen anything that is doing a top-down look like this. Okay, that is a blast. That is Samurai. Amazingly doing things we haven't seen before for a game. Lots of things. Top-down view, multiple enemies you're taking out at once. You have a boss, sort of, more difficult. It's using sword moves, like hack and slash elements. So I'm debating whether I want to give it 5 or not because of everything we've seen in the arcades. It's not as influential, but I'm going to go ahead and give it 4.5 for Samurai. That's excellent game. All right, moving on to our next game. Oh yeah, here we go. This is Space Invaders for the Atari 2600. So if you were watching the footage we had before, in the 70s, in 77 specifically, when Atari was released for the home, it had great launch titles and kicked off really well, but we didn't see a lot of Atari games that were released after that. It was very few. And that's because, honestly, a lot of the home consoles, they weren't selling as well. They didn't have that killer app, and this is the killer app. This is what sold the Atari. Oh, really? It's got 116 modes? Okay, let's see. This is Space Invaders for Atari at home. Here is our box. Yes, 112 games of Space Invaders. That's awesome. Yeah, it's got moving shields, zigzagging, laser bombs, fast lasers, bombs, invisible invaders, which I hated that game mode. Play invisible invaders? That was, it's not fair. All right, so, yes, you can see at the bottom, trademarked by Taito. So this was an official release. Oh, they have 2 asterisks at the top, making sure Taito's getting the credit because at this point, I'm sure Taito has sued lots of people for copying Space Invaders. On the channel alone, we played, I think, 20 copies of Space Invaders that took the idea. And there you go. We got games 1 through 16 are 1-player, and we got 2-player modes for the rest of them. So cool. Controlled with the Atari joystick, and there is our cartridge. And see, you see it says 1978 Atari, possibly whenever it was distributed, or this may be a reproduction and it's not accurate on the date. All right, so there we go. Yeah, it shows us some screenshots. Very cool. All right, here's the manual for Space Invaders on Atari. Oh man, love it. Got the warranty information, complete gameplay instructions, and the game select matrix. Atari was very proud of that, of how to find what game mode you wanted to play and how many people it was. And then it even has helpful hints in section 6. So cool. Always turn the console power switch off when inserting and removing an Atari game program cartridge. This will protect the electronic components. Yes, always remember, kids, to turn it off. All right, so gameplay. Each time you turn on Space Invaders, you'll be at war with enemies from space who are threatening the Earth. Your objective is to destroy these invaders by firing your laser cannon. You must wipe out the invaders either before they reach Earth, bottom of the screen, or before they hit you 3 times with their laser bombs. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, we had 2 boxes, so yeah, we can't hit on all of them, but yeah, that's great info. Your long-term objective is to score as many points as possible. Points are scored each time you hit one of the Space Invaders. They're worth different amounts of points depending on their initial, and we saw that in the arcades, how they're different points. If you destroy all 36 Space Invaders before they reach Earth, a new set of invaders will appear on the screen. And yes, this is the best description of Space Invaders. We didn't have a very good one when it was released in the arcades, because most of the manuals we get from the arcade cabinets are how to build the system. And there you go, using the controller. How hard can it be? It's 1 joystick, 1 button. So it's showing, yeah, nothing big there. Console controls. On the console, it has a reset switch, difficulty switch, and a game mode switch. I don't think this one uses difficulty, but yeah, there's 112 game variations of Space Invaders. So you hold the switch down, and yeah, it looks like it's just the game variation switch. Oh, it is difficult. They use the difficulty switch. They control the size of the laser cannons on the screen, and you can make them smaller or bigger. And so that's cool. It does have a difficulty, the switch on the console you can change. And then how the scoring works, all the different points. It shows you what you get. Okay, more points for the top row. Awesome. And then here's all our game variations. We are not going to play all the game variations. We don't have time for that. There's several game variations. We have moving shields, where the shields that you've seen at the bottom of Space Invaders move, which this is so cool because the original Space Invaders was very, very simple but popular. And we saw other clones in the arcade and even on some home consoles that were taking the idea. But this is a home version that is giving you almost all the other cloned ideas that everyone else did. And you can do it all in home. Atari is a genius. And this is one of the reasons why the Atari home console got so popular, because of this game, which is why we're reading the manual. Love it. So we also have zigzagging laser bombs The laser bombs zigzag back and forth when they come down the screen. Oh, so that must be the aliens, the Invaders bombs. Then we have fast laser bombs, and then the one that I did not like, invisible invaders. Yes, yeah, I agree from the chat. They had to go through each one, the last variation. If you're in the mood for a serious challenge, try Game 16. Okay, well, we'll have to check that out. In addition to the different variations, there's several ways to play. We can play 2-player, and I think that's the very first time. Every other Space Invaders has been alternating play, one ship at a time. So we can do normal, where you're playing together, and then you also have 2 opposing players taking alternating turns, which what we saw in the arcades. And then 2 opposing players competing at the same time. So all these game modes, man, this is the way to go. Whenever we had a home console release come out on the Fairchild or the RCA or the Odyssey, I kept wanting other game modes because that's what Atari set as the precedent. And so this is it. This is taking it to the nth degree. You can also do 2 opposing players competing at the same time, taking alternating turns. Welcome, Jeff Quest from the chat. And I do not have a spreadsheet. We have them all cataloged on YouTube with all the descriptions of every game. So I haven't made a spreadsheet, but yeah, to see everything we have played, it'd be very simple. I could pull one up and post it on YouTube or on Twitch if they let me. All right, so we also have 2-player partnership game and then alternating fire 2-player partnership. Look at all these game modes, so good. And then helpful hints. We haven't heard this from the arcade. By now you must know you must hit and eliminate the Space Invaders before they reach the Earth or bottom of the screen. You also know you must evade their following laser bombs. Here are some other bits of information to help you play Space Invaders. During the game, the command alien ship will fly across the top of the screen, sometimes left and right. The command ship's worth 200 points. So we knew that one. You got to hit the command ship. It's a bonus if you're able to hit it. And then, let's see, any other tips and hints? About shields. You're safe behind shields. However, as the enemy hits the shields, they become damaged, and laser beams can possibly pass through them. Okay, we got that. These aren't the best tips and tricks. And the development, from what I heard, the development of Space Invaders was in-house. That is correct. So they licensed it from Taito, but Taito didn't do the work for it. I heard it was developed by Atari. All right, so small line bars on the bottom of the screen indicate the furthest points to which you may move left and right. Oh, that's a good tip. Okay, so programming the Atari, sometimes for graphics, there was some limitations, and so at the bottom, there's some bars, and they just give us a really good tip about the furthest points you can go. Oh, I would love to know. Yeah, did Taito have any help? Because Taito's done by themselves Space Invaders 2, which had some variations in the arcade by it. But nothing released in the home has been done by Taito, and that's because there isn't any home consoles in Japan yet. All right, so as always, at the bottom, we have the game select matrix for all 112 game modes for how to play. So cool. All right, and we do have different versions because it's so popular. We have the European version. We have a Space Invaders hack. Aphex Invaders, another Space Invaders hacks. Atari Invaders, more hacks that were done. Beast Invaders, better Space Invaders. Face Invaders 2, Face Invaders Deluxe. Fish Revenge. Invaders from Space, Joshua Invaders. Noise Invaders, Northern Alliance, Pack Invaders. Look at all these different, of all the game additional apps we've seen in different versions, this is the most we've seen of any game on the channel so far. Look at this, Space Invaders 2, which someone hacked, Spice Invaders, Ventura, lots of different variations that came from this. And no, we focused on all. We played everything, including handheld systems, the standalone handhelds. We're about to come up to the Game & Watch at some point because it was released in the 80s. And then as far as mainframe computers, those are the only ones we have not hit on. So no Plato. Anything with a mainframe or servers, no. All right, let's boot it up. It is March 10th, 1980, the release of Space Invaders that you could play at home. And just to give you a heads up, if you look at the bottom of the screen, those are those arrow, little lines they were telling us about of the limits of how far we could go and where the bullets would go. And Yes, that's right. They did bring the 2600 to Japan. What was the date that they brought Atari to Japan? Because I remember there was no interest. It was called the Atari 20. Was it the 2700? Because we had the 5200 is the next console in America, but oh, very good. Okay, yeah, we might check those out because of the amount of games. This channel has over 100,000. That because we're going to be playing every video game, so I don't know if we can squeeze in even more. But I've already reached out to people that want to help me if there's things that I have missed or haven't found yet that's coming up in the future that I'll give to them. So yes, I want to know what it was called in Japan, because Atari was released in Japan. It wasn't the 5200, it wasn't the 7800. It was a different name, but I think it was too late. It was this release was only for North America at the time. All right, so I want to check out a different game mode. They said to check out. Oh, here we go. This, you see the barrier is moving. So now we have moving barriers left and right. Oh yeah, and we got the classic sounds. Oh, so good. I had to put a limit on some of the games we could play because playing all the home computers is already a monumental task. And I've even prefaced that some of the home computers, not everything loads so well. I even found some dumps that the games don't even play as well on the home computer. Like, we don't have the best dump for them. No, I want to get that UFO. Okay, Atari 2800, thank you. So 83, we're in 1980 when Space Invaders was released, so it was too late. Atari dropped the ball on that. But I think it was almost a little bit because of pride, because Atari, after this release, kicks off and does so well, the industry blows up, making billions of dollars for Atari. And so I can see, oh, they got me. They made it to the bottom. I can see Atari not really pursuing anything global until it was too late. We've already, on the channel, playing all the games in a row, have seen the rise of Japan. Starting where arcade cabinets are shipped overseas, and then we see people in Japan that see these amazing games and start developing their own and creating their own arcade cabinets. And then from there, this is where everything blows up. We're in 1980, and we're going to have monumentally more games released than what we saw before. We finished all the games from the 70s, and I want to reset to this one. And to just put in perspective, in 1971, we only played checked out 2 games in the whole year for 1971. By the time we get to 1980, this year, we're going to play about 285 games for just this year alone. And then the next year, everything's going to multiply by 2 or 3. So in 1981, we're going to play about 560 games. In 1982, we're already over 1,000. So what Atari began and how the industry expounds globally, especially in Japan, is crazy. Because we're going to be playing everything from Japan, too. Even all the home consoles and home computers in Japan. October, okay. Oh, after the Famicom? That's really bad timing. Oh yeah, and we also go favorite by favorite by game. So we're rating all the games as we go, and we're rating on a perspective of what it was like to be at that time, and from everything else we've seen before then. And so at the end, we have a really good range of the good and bad games of the year. All right, so they challenged us in the manual to check out game mode 16. So let's do it. Here we go. This is game 16. Looks like moving barriers with, oh no, invisible invaders and wiggling lasers. Oh my gosh, yeah. So I'm getting destroyed. Yeah, I can't even see. It's passing right through. Oh, but they give me the flash, which is nice. But still, man, crazy hard. I will say when on my Atari, this is the one I played one of the most. This one, Video Olympics, Combat, but Space Invaders, because of how many game modes it was, it's a blast. I'm already dead after 3 shots. Okay, so I want to see the 2-player mode because while I don't have a second player with me tonight, I wanted to showcase that this is the first time you could play simultaneously. So as I'm going through the game modes, I'm flipping the switch on our Atari console, and if I go to the farther game mode, there we go. So now we have you can see we have 2 players and we're playing together. So you can actually move and shoot at the same time. This is what really bumps this game up. Simultaneous play and co-op play on Atari is always a must. And just to have someone else, it makes the replayability a lot better. All right, so let's see another one. Let's go further down the list. We're not going to hit all of them because it's just variations of how to play. I want to play the competitive way where they're going against, you go against a second player. So this is, okay, so when you do the competitive play, it's just like the arcades, you play first, alternate, and then whoever gets the highest score would be the winner for that one. Remember back then when score was the biggest thing? We've only seen a handful of games that went further than just getting a high score. We've already seen some home computers give depth and lore to how to play the game. But, oh, there is a super wide. Let's see. Super wide turret. I want to see the shot for it. We can always look at the matrix for it, but it would tell us how to get to the super wide mode. Yeah, you can see. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't think it's that one. It's got to be higher up. 90, because with so many different options, it just lets you play more of it. All right, so this one, the button is not controlling unless I'm pushing. Yeah, I'm pushing on my button on the Atari controller, but it's not responding. Oh, I know why. It's cooperative. In this mode, one player is moving the spacecraft, and the second player shoots. So you're like work together, and you're playing cooperatively on one ship. Man, so many game modes. This is awesome. All right, so for the time, this was the best of the best. We're giving this 5 stars, bar none, for what you could play at home console, and for 1980. This is so big. Love it. All right, so let's go to our next game. We are back in the arcades, and this is Atari Soccer. We've seen almost every Atari sport now. This, I think, is one of the last ones. Atari Football, very influential for having the trackball. Atari Soccer, though, they have 2 different... Okay, this one is the incorrect advertisement flyer. That is the correct one. This is Atari Soccer advertisement flyer. The world's most popular sport, available in 2 and 4-player modes. Look at that, 4 trackballs on the cocktail cabinet. It's crazy. Move over Pong, Paddle Battle. Oh, that's the old soccer. So we had an old soccer. They're mixing them up because they're both called the same, just soccer. There's the example of the arcade cabinet, and that is the wrong cabinet. There's the correct one. And for controls, looks like we have a moving around and 2 different shots. So yeah, it looks like they mixed the artwork up just because it had the same name. Let's see what manual we got. We got the right one. Atari Soccer Operator and Service Manual. Oh, yeah, they did it right. And notice how they're giving a lot of fan service to the owners of the arcade. Very clean, amazingly done manual. Very professional, too. Because that's where they started, and I could expect that. Oh, that's a great... That'd be a great buy. A good coffee table read. Or stare at. All right, it is March 1980. This is Atari Soccer in the arcades. Playing every video game in order of release. This is our next one, and let's put a quarter in and see what it's like. This one is able to be played with 4 people at once. Okay, this is impressive. Top-down view. I have full range of someone else, and I can... Oh my gosh, I don't believe it. I can move all the way around the field, and I have a scrolling screen, so it's not taking place on one screen. I can't believe it. Can I get it in? Yeah, nice. And it plays so well. It's using a trackball, so you got nice smooth motions. That's great. And to play with 4 people would be a blast. Can I go in? Give me that ball. Oh, I guess we gotta let them go. Okay. You'll take it, and then let's go for a steal. So we even have computer-controlled characters playing with us. That's awesome. Oh yeah, stole it back. Look at that. Oh man, this plays so well. And while I would say the AI isn't up to snuff, no, for 1980, this is incredible that it's allowing all these players to move around on the screen. Yeah, I agree. This one is for sure 5-star. Man, it'd be great to play with 4 people on this one. Yeah, we're going 5 stars. Atari Soccer. they've already kicked butt with sports in the arcades, so this is up there for sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we stop for this episode. We will join you next time where we continue more games from the 80s, playing every video game in order of release. We will catch you next time. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we miss any games along the way. This video would not be possible without RetroArch and Launchbox. Please tell your friends there's some crazy guy out there trying to play every single video game. You can always check out Chronologically Gaming on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We will catch you next time.